The most important thing in life will always be the people in this room. Right now.
It's about to be on.
Ride or die, remember?
Hell yeah!
It's about to be on.
Hey, now we're talking.
Oh, yeah. Perfect.
What happened to your leg, man? What the fuck you out here doing? Donuts in the parking lot or something, man?
I had a bad reaction to the COVID vaccine. Blood clots and shit.
Real.
For real.
To the
Pfizer.
Johnson, the Pfizer. Blood clots.
Jamal Finkley, BLACKTREE TV. Man, I gotta say congratulations to you. I mean, not only is this franchise now 20 years old, but you've been on the big screen for 20 years. I mean, we don't count Love Song, which people don't really remember, but you know, go back to Baby Boy, that's 2001. You know, I know you did Moesha, Sister, all that other stuff before, but on the big screen, you're 20 years old. Have you thought about that?
Nah.
And
Yeah, 20 years of doing anything is crazy. Well, thank God I wasn't like in a booth doing security for 20 years, checking people in.
Yeah.
20 years of doing this is interesting. No disrespect to that job, because that is a job, but the things that I've been able to see, the countries and worlds and fans and buildings and architecture and history and access has been life-changing. I mean, I'm just a black kid from South Central LA, and I can go pretty much any country in the world. If they don't speak a lick of English, they might know who I am.
Yeah.
And that's a big, big, big deal. And I never claimed to be the biggest movie star, nor have I ever been interested in being the biggest movie star, but for my little slice of the pie, I'm definitely grateful.
That's my car, pal.
Don't!
Go! Very natural.
Of course I am.
And I'm grateful for a friend both of us share, the late great John Singleton.
Yes, sir.
Who, I mean, you was already a star in your own right. You was already doing music and everything else. But how much did him putting you in Baby Boy just propel all of this for you?
It propelled everything. The crazy thing is, true story. John booked me and casted me for Baby Boy. And then I actually got John the job to direct Too Fast, Too Furious. And the reason I'm sharing that story is because Baby Boy, as a filmmaker, writer, producer for John, has nothing to do with Too Fast, Too Furious.
Yeah.
The energy, the scope, it has nothing to do with South Central LA. And Fast and the Furious for me had nothing to do with Baby Boy. So the fact that I got casted to be opposite Paul Walker after just wrestling and fighting in the living room with Ving Rhames, one is literally not connected to the other.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is this. Will Smith, to this day, probably have given me the best compliment I've ever heard. And the compliment wasn't just a compliment that meant a lot to me. It was a compliment that was given that also came with a lot of pressure and anxiety. He said to me, "You know what makes you dangerous? You can go off and do Training Day and Transformers in the same year." He said if Denzel Washington tried to do iRobot, it would be, and if I, as Will Smith, tried to go do Training Day, it would be, and he said, you can do both. But he said the difference between me and you is you don't apply yourself. Because all of your talents and your gifts come so natural. People like me gotta work that much harder to be as good as I am. And I was like, wow. I mean, it was honest, it was raw, it did not come from a competitive place. And it shook me because I was in dramatic movies like Four Brothers and Waist Deep and Baby Boy, and then I was in Transformers and Fast and the Furious, and I didn't even put 2 and 3 and 4 together myself. So once he said it, it made me realize something that no one could have realized but someone who noticed. And then for 2, I didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to do with that. So it was the best compliment ever, but it's put me under a lot of pressure. And so, but it all goes back to John Singleton, who for some reason decided to start me off in the dramatic space, and then movie number 2, I'm now flying in cars, shooting up and doing action with a $200-something million budget, from 25 to 200, movie 1 and 2.
I mean, you earned it. I mean, and you're the perfect character in this movie. I mean, the fans love you. They love the interaction with you and Ludacris. But staying on South Central, before John passed, he said something about doing doing a version of Snowfall in Miami starring you. Did that ever get transpired to you? A story about Miami Snowfall? And I wish we would have seen that, man. But it's this great movie.